I'm Dr. Janet Wright, Senior Vice President for Science and Quality at the American College of Cardiology. It's my pleasure today to be here with Dr. David Holmes. As you know, he's the president of ACC. David, welcome.
Janet, it's great to be here.
We're here to talk about transcatheter valve therapy, and the societies ACC and STS have just released a society overview. Why?
It's a great question, Janet. As we think about new technology, it points the way to where we're going to go. Points the way to where we are today, but then we're going to go tomorrow. This is transformational technology. You might say, well, what is transformational technology? Transformational technology is technology that changes everything, changes the landscape, at least potentially. And so if we were to say, what has been the past of the treatment of aortic stenosis? It's been surgical approach. Some patients didn't get the surgery because they were too high risk. But in the past, it has been the standard of care is aortic valve replacement. People then began to say, are there alternatives? We've learned a lot about catheter-based technology. We've learned about stents in the coronary arteries. Maybe what we could do would be to use a really large stent, and that would then potentially change the treatment for aortic stenosis. And so transformational technology brings along a technology like this and then studies it and then points the way towards the future. And so this percutaneous or catheter-based approach for aortic stenosis is potentially that transformational technology. Having said that, ACC and STS working together have been terribly focused on how we might consider the role that this technology might play.
Well, in fact, in the article, in the publication, you all identified key issues that need to be considered by either doctors who are using or perhaps having this used on their patients, and then government agencies. Tell us about those.
The most important things, and there are several, are to, number one, say that it has been tested in randomized trials in very high-risk surgical candidates, either patients who are not surgical candidates or people who were felt to be really high-risk surgical candidates. For the person who is 35 or 40, sort of like you or I, aortic valve replacement surgically is still a great operation. It's not perfect, but it's a great operation. And so we do not have the data on those people that are 35 or 40. And so those people that say, gosh, we're going to then be able to replace all aortic valve replacement surgery, not going to happen, or we don't think it should happen at the present time. We need more data. Maybe in 10 years' time that will be the case. Certainly not the case now. And so this series of documents that will be coming out, that will be multi-societal documents from SCAI, from AATS, from structural heart disease, echocardiographers, and other people like that, will be aimed at addressing, number one, those requirements for institutions to participate in this. Do you want every institution to participate in it? Probably not, because you're going to need a team-based approach where there's going to be surgeon, interventional cardiologist, quarterbacks, or at least the primary cardiologists involved, echocardiographers, other people dealing with structural heart disease, anesthetists. So there will be, number one, a team-based care. Number two, we will need to make sure that we select the appropriate patients. Right. The results of the randomized clinical trial, the partners trial, were superb because indeed we focused on patient selection. These are very high-risk patients. These are not average typical patients. They're very high-risk patients. And so to get the best possible outcome of this potentially transformational technology, we need to, number one, select the best centers. Number two, select the best operators and make sure that they are credentialed so that they are very well taught. And that is the focus of a document that will be coming out with SCAI and AATS and ACC and STS on credentialing of operators. How do we educate them? And then to identify then hospital systems in terms of hospitalists after the procedure. How are we going to do that? How are we going to follow them up? And ACC and STS working together are going to be focused on a registry that will then be used to track patients after the procedure.
For the long term.
For the long term.
Right.
So We can get these patients through the procedure, we can get them through 30 days. What's going to happen in 4 years or 5 years? We have
and
long-term
gradually
surgical data.
feedback the experience with the device to help improve it, to further refine that. And David, how about the next steps in terms of FDA approval? What's on the calendar?
So at the present time, the panel date has been set. Now, panels are interesting. FDA panels are interesting. They have patient advocates, they have ethicists, they have statisticians, they have surgeons, they have cardiologists, they have a whole wide range of people that identify the data and make then a recommendation to the FDA. It's not binding to the FDA, but it's a recommendation to the FDA. And so that's coming up now in about a month's time.
Great.
And during that time, then at that point in time, there will have to be specific statements made about, number one, how the patients are going to be done, where they are going to be done, who is going to do the procedure, how will they be followed,
Right.
how will we educate the people that are going to be doing the procedure. And so that'll be a terribly interesting and very important discussion. The most important part of the ACC STS working partnership has been to say this is transformational technology. It can be used for great good. It can bring with it the potential for great harm. So what we are trying to do is to help set the stage with multiple other societies for rational dispersion of transformational technology. Rational dispersion of transformational technology.
Great. Thank you, and thank you for joining us. I've been talking with Dr. David Holmes, current president of ACC, about transformational therapy, that's transcatheter valve therapy. You can get more information on cardiosource.org.